Hello, this is Stephanie Bedoya. This is my second thought question, and I'm going to be talking about prompt G. So, to begin with, how do you define age? I think there are multiple definitions of age, like we learned in the beginning of the semester this year. Um, there is chronological age, which is how long you've been alive for, and that's a very poor indicator of age. There is biological age, which is your physical health. There is psychological age, which is your mentality. And then there's social age, which is how you interact with others, such as your peers or your adults or in a professional setting. Um, at the end of the day, though, um, age is just, a very broad thing. As I said, most people go based off your chronological age, which is how long you've been alive for. But like I said, that's a poor indicator and it can lead to stereotypes. And not everyone, for example, not everyone who is uh, 18 years old and is going to be mature. There are still 18-year-olds who act as if they are little kids and they're very immature and irresponsible. And then there are 18-year-olds who are very mature and they have responsibilities and they have a full-time job and are like helping financially at home. So I feel like age, there are multiple types and definitions to it. Um, when does one become an adult? Like we talked about in class, becoming an adult is starting to be later and later on in life, especially with like the cost of living compared to like wages, and it's very hard to be like financially stable. So a lot of people will go to school for multiple years to earn a degree and hopefully enter a career where they will be financially stable. So I believe that becoming an adult has a lot to do with education and, like I said, being financially stable. So when does one become an adult? I can't give you an exact age because it's different, but like I said, I don't think it's very like dependent on age. I think it's just you become an adult once you are financially stable. You can provide for yourself. You can provide for yourself like financially, mentally, physically. You are on your own. You don't have to worry about calling your mom or dad and asking them to help you out with paying your car insurance or your rent or your water bill. I think being an adult is being dependent on yourself 100%. And yeah, what does it mean to be an adult? I think I kind of like talked about that in my previous answer. I think being an adult is just being responsible. I think that's a very big, important characteristic. I think um, being responsible, being trustworthy. You have to be at work at 9 o'clock. You're going to be on time, and it's even better if you're earlier. Um, yeah, being an adult, being responsible, being trustworthy, providing for yourself. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The next question: what is old? Um, I think this is also um, similar to age. I think old has a lot of different definitions. An example could be like if you're gonna go trick or treating, and if you're 10 years old going trick or treating, that's fine. But if you're 30 years old and you're going trick or treating, you would be considered old, you know? But then again, if you look at it this way, if you are thinking of, let's say, retiring, if you're 30 years old and you're retiring, most people would say you're too young to retire. But if you are 65 years old and you're retiring, that would be an acceptable age. So I feel like for different situations, the definition of old changes. Um, I think a lot of people just think being old is just like being like 60 years and older, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that because there could be someone who is 60 years old and runs like, let's say, like marathons like once a month, but then there could be someone who's 20 years old and like can't even run a mile without like dying. So I feel like being old is very, different, like for different circumstances, as I said earlier. When does one become old? Um, I think one just becomes old when it's like, I don't know, I feel like if I had to give an age, I think like 80. I think 80 is pretty old. Um, a lot of people like don't make it to 80, but I mean nowadays like technology and medicine is getting better and access to health insurance and all that is getting better. So potentially the lifespan can increase, but I feel like for now, let's just say 80 is old. Um, when should we be able to vote? I think 18 is okay. I think we should leave it at 18. Just because I feel like I'm not saying this is applying to everyone, but there are a lot of younger people now who are getting more involved in politics and involved in what is going on around the world. It's being more important, more aware now. So I feel like being 18 is a good age to vote. Not everyone, like I said. I mean, there's going to be individual differences, but we can leave that at 18. When should one be able to drive? I feel like looking at it like logically, I think we should leave it at the legal age of 16 to be able to drive just because there are people who like have work and they need to be able to drive to work after school, or school people need to be able to drive to school. Like I know like my school, I went to Dr. Phillips and my school was a magnet school, so we had people from all over the county coming to DP. Like I had a friend and she lived all the way by the airport, and so she'd have to wake up super early and drive to school, and it would take like 30 to 40 minutes. So she drove in her own car, like she drove to school. So I feel like leaving it at 16 is good because there are, like I said, individual differences, and people need to be able to go to work and go to school or do the groceries or pick up their younger sibling from school or daycare or whatever. However, if it were possible, I would say raise the driving age just because once like if you look at it like yes there are individual difference, but there is a lot of 16-year-olds who don't drive safe or who want to show off to in front of their friends, or who are driving and their friends are in the car and they're driving irresponsibly because they have the music blasting and they're taking snapshots and they're dancing and they're doing this, and it is very dangerous. But yeah, I guess logically looking at it, just leave it at 16. um, when should one be able to drink? Um, I guess you can just leave it at 21. You know, people tried to just get rid of it before, I think, the prohibition. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I could be wrong. But people did try to get rid of it, but people were still drinking at like hidden, like undercover bars. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if someone wants to drink and they're underage, they're gonna find a way to do it. So just leave it at 21. What age should one be able to get married? Um, I feel like if you feel as if you have found the love of your life and you are 100% certain that this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, then who am I to tell you you can't marry them? I mean, I think you should be able to get married whatever age you want to. And at the end of the day, if things don't work out, it's not the end of the world. You can get a divorce. It's not like you're stuck with that person for the rest of your life. So I think it should just be whenever you want. For sure, over the age of 18, though. I don't think anyone under 18 should be getting married. How do I feel about getting old? Um, I'm excited because I want to see where I end up and like what I'll be doing and how I'll be like financially stable. And I think getting older is cool, and there are more experiences that one can do, and more responsibilities, more freedom, and I just feel like it's like a great journey to do. I mean, yes, there are going to be like tough times, and like there are going to be times where one like where you're stressed, but overall, I feel like it's just better to look at the bright side. I mean, there's always going to be negative things, and there's no point in dwelling on the negative. So just look at things on the bright side, and I'm excited on getting old. Um, does anything scare me? Yeah, I feel like if I don't like have a financially stable job, and like I think just being having an unfinancially stable job where like I'm not getting paid enough, and like I feel like that's scary because like I don't want to live my life like paycheck to paycheck. I feel like that's just a horrible way to live because then you'd always be stressed. So I feel like that scares me on getting old. Also, another thing that scares me about getting old is like having like health problems, because that's just super scary, and like it's like your health is just so important. So I feel like as of now, those are the two things that I'm scared of about getting old. Whether I'll be financially stable or not, and health issues.